Now, introducing somebody whom many in the room know much better than I is not an easy job. But I consider that it's not simply telling you about who Anant is in terms of his chronology, his background, his work that I'm supposed to say a few words about, but certain larger things as to what does Anant mean for us as students who are here. Today, Chandan and I were sitting and talking about who are our students. Is there a mic somewhere? There's a mic there. Do I need it? No, I don't need it. In a sense, it is a complicated question. Because if you are doing a master's in history or a master's in economics, then a distinguished speaker like Amartya Sen or somebody will come and you know who you are. Belong to that. Or a historian will come. Our students are a mixed group from very different backgrounds, engaging with the problem of development in complicated ways. And this series of lectures, the diversity of people talking, also in a sense is an attempt at letting the students understand the traditions to which they belong, the intellectual, political and social traditions to which they can seek alignment, from which they can seek strength. It is not our intention to provide you with a list of heroes whom you can admire and mold yourself with. That is not the idea. But the idea is to try and locate yourself, because understanding who you are, in a sense, is very important in realizing what you will become. In the past, social service, daan, was usually an activity taken within a broadly conservative mode. People who served others were not social change agents. So, in a sense, while we do see ourselves as coming in from a tradition of social service, there is a distinction. We also see ourselves as change agents. It is something new. Now the question is, what are the intellectual, political, ethical traditions that we can draw strength from when we engage on this journey of realizing our potential as agents, as people, as individuals who are engaging in processes where social change is very much an agenda ahead of us. One of the things that I have come to learn about Anant is the way he engages with people, the way he seems to work. I remember when I was a student 20 years ago abroad in Europe, it used to be very easy to take very radical positions, to take extreme positions on political, economic, social issues. When you come back here, you find that if you want to work, you can't take radical positions. You have to find other ways of engaging with processes. From what I have talked to friends and understood, Anant is one person who has learned to work with people, who has emphasized on methods, means, as more important, as important. And it is precisely because of this that he has learned and he has shown by his example how you can work along principles in an environment which is complex, and institutionally diverse. And he has done this by many ways. One of the ways, I gather, is to provide a leadership which is a non-leadership. A leadership in which individuals seem to flower rather than the leader. And to my mind, when we go into this talk of that Anant is going to give us about his life, I would like you all to remember that a nation which needs heroes is a poor nation. Can we think of a country, a culture, a working culture without heroes? I think from today's talk, I at least, and the little that I have met Anant, we have met twice, long engagements we've had, and we took a more or less instant liking to each other, has been precisely this, that there is in each one of us capacities for self-realization and fulfillment, which are not necessarily manifest in heroic ways, but in realizing everyday struggles, in finding ways of working that are perhaps not necessarily dramatic, but still moving ahead and realizing an agenda that is powerful and rigorously articulated. I request Anant to come and share his story. Thanks.
Very happy moment for me to be here because of three reasons. The first is like today I am reminded of my days as a university student by meeting the Azim Premji University students and being with them. That is the first reason I remember those days, when everybody has a lot of passion, a lot of confusion, a lot of desire to learn something and to find a meaningful way for the life, and a wonderful opportunity to be with the fellow friends, classmates. So I'm quite happy to be here. The second reason I was thinking that the second reason for me to be very happy about that, this Azim Premji University with its practice and theory connect design, that enabled me, because I am not a professor, not an expert on any subject, neither have done anything, extraordinarily brilliant, and not a known person. So how come I am here and speaking to you all bright people? So it's because of the design this university has, that there has to be a combination of theory and practice, and there has to be a space for the common man's voice in the classrooms. So that is the second reason. And the third reason I am very happy is that I am with the foundation family, and these many people, these many known people, like it is a talking in front of your family members. So, but it is little nervous also, because I have not done this before. I was working, living with the people, and and trying to do something in my own way and trying to be with people and trying to see people, but was not. I have not done this that I am giving a lecture on what I was engaged into. So forgive me for this reason and the other reason. There would be the experiences of mine are based on working with the people who are seen as tribal people, who are seen as poor people, who are seen as communities. So there would be a lot of things which I may not be able to explain in English, because I would be using a lot of, when I would be citing some examples, I would be using the local language or would be shifting to Hindi. I think that's fine and all right with all of you. So I would be talking about like 3 phases of around 20 years of engagement. The first phase started soon after I did my MPhil from Institute of Social Science, a program which is spread in a district which was large enough, having 1429 villages, and engaging in the literacy efforts for over around 3 lakh people. So that would be the second thing. And the third thing I will try to share would be when I joined 7 years back, I joined Azim Premji Foundation. And like Azim Premji Foundation, and most of you already know, they are working with the government as a partner organization. So working at a small village, then working at a district level administrative unit, and then working at the state level with the government systems and policies and things like that. So we'll begin with the with the Neelgarh village. Neelgarh is a very small village, and I went there as an accident. I arrived there. I was traveling from Delhi to Bhopal with a Shatabdi Express, and was having an engagement the other day. Shatabdi reaches Bhopal around in the afternoon, around 2 p.m. So I was traveling, and one gentleman was sitting besides me. He was a DFO, Divisional Forest Officer of a nearby area of Bhopal. So I was traveling, and then like co-passengers started talking to each other. So found some common interest. So he said, "What are you doing this evening?" Because I told him that I have some work next day. So I said, I don't have any plans. So he said that I am posted very close to Bhopal. So why can't you come with me? I will show you a reserve forest, and there may be a chance to see a tiger. So at that time I was posted working with an organization at Delhi. So somebody who is living in Delhi or Bangalore, so going to a jungle is reasonably good enough excitement for him. So I decided to go, and I went to this village. So we were traveling this village. It was a dense forest called Ratapara Sanctuary area. So it was a dense forest. So we were trying to see the wildlife. Could not see anything. But towards evening we landed in this village called Neelgarh, which was inside dense forest, and it is the Vindhyachal ranges of Madhya Pradesh. So it was a bowl shape of a geography where like the hills all around, and in the middle that this was the beautiful village. So there was an inspection bungalow, and because DFO is a big officer of forest, and as he was, you know, there, so he called all the foresters and deputy rangers and rangers of that area. So he started talking to these forest officials, and I was free. So the inspection bungalow was a little ahead to the village. So we were sitting there. So I just was talking to some drivers who were standing there. I said, which tribe is this? Who are these people? They said it is Gond tribes, and that was, you know, something related to my PhD topic also. So I just thought that till this meeting is taking place, let me go and meet these people. So as a young man who has not seen you know, rural India, I mean, so just I entered this village, and suddenly I was among the people there, and they, without knowing me, they asked me to sit, they offered water, they asked me for tea, and I started talking to them. So my first impression, I still remember, I felt कितने गरीब लोग हैं, because they were not having, you know, enough clothes to wear, just one dhoti over and nothing. And I was seeing, I am viewing their houses. So these houses, none of the house even was having a tiled roof. Thatch or teak leaves were there as roofs. And I was surprised to see the situation. So I was coming up with general questions which are there in the questionnaires of the students, you know, that literacy kitna percentage hai, below poverty line kitne log hain, immunization kitna percent ho gaya hai. So those type of questions I was having in my mind, and I found that there was no history of literacy. Not a single child was ever given immunization. Everybody was below poverty line. For everyone, it was a big struggle to 2 जून की रोटी जिसको बोलते हैं. And there was nothing called government schemes, welfare and development schemes have touched their lives till then. So I thought as a young person that, you know, एक आध गांव छूट जाए जंगल के इतने अंदर है, because I was reading there are everybody is talking about, you know, welfare and development of the poor people. Every political party is हरिजन आदिवासियों का कल्याण करने के लिए. Every government program have their dedicated funds, schemes, and so many schemes. And I was reading all those things as a student for my like study. So I thought that this is one village, you know, which somehow was situated in a bowl shape, was covered with forest and hills, so could not come in notice of the schemes and the welfare programs and the people and the government. So I thought, let me do some social work now. So I said, what can I do for you? If I want to do one thing for you, you have to decide what is that one thing I can do for you. because I was thinking, I would be writing something about these people and would be Dr. Gangola from Anant Gangola, simple Gangola. So, and I would be uh, climbing the ladders of my career, but they will remain like this. So I must do something for them. So, and one more thing, before I forget to mention that. And when I asked, आप लोगों के क्या हाल है? Before, after finishing this my questionnaire in one day, that I said, आप लोगों के क्या हाल है? बोले साहब सब मजेदारी है. So, I thought, how come सब मजेदारी है? We don't have, clothes, food, a full-time engagement, employment, no electricity in this village, not a hand pump to have safe drinking water. So I was surprised and confused. So then I asked, what can I do? So somebody called Rama, who was the elder man of that village. So Rama Dao said, बाकी सब तो है लेकिन एक स्कूल खुल जाता हमारे यहाँ तो बहुत अच्छा होता. So I thought that there are several schemes going on, formal and non-formal schemes of educating people, universalization of education. So I thought that I will meet the officials and will let them know that एक गांव छूट गया है. So this is the information about that village. Can something be done for that village? And at that time I was working as deputy director with a joint assistance center in New Delhi. So I took a leave from there, and I thought, let me go there and let me try to see what all can be done for this village, and then I will continue with my PhD. But in this period, I realized that it's not like a simple thing to go and do things. Nothing is working there. So I then resigned from the job and then stayed back in that village. Because while in this 2 months engagement with the villagers, this first notion where I was able to see their poverty, it got dismantled, because then I was able to see the richness of these people also. And then I realized one more thing, that if I want to understand the rural India as a student, there could be 2 ways, like visiting 100 villages for one time. I was telling, coming with Raviji, and I was telling him that there could be 2 ways, like visiting 100 villages for one time, or visiting one village for 100 times are 2 different things. So I visited, many villages for one time, and then I was living in this village for a longer duration. So I thought I know everything. लोग सिर में गट्ठा लेके जाते हैं, बहुत दूर तक चलना पड़ता है उनको. But seeing it from close, it gave me 2 insights in the first 2 months. One was, there is a lot of goodness, among people. There is a lot of goodness in the society. So, which is there with individuals. And it is, if it anyhow can get converted into a collective effort, it can do wonders. So, my notion and my understanding about poverty and development and welfare, they were shaken when I was then every day I was able to find new learnings from these people. And I will try to give some example of what I am trying to say. So, this village was around 5 kilometers inside from a national highway. And there was a kacha road, the forest road, and no vehicle was going from there. Only forest jeeps used to come on occasions. Otherwise, these villages we all were going to that national highway to catch any transport from there. So there were a lot of stones in that road. So every third second, if you are not aware, you are going to hit your feet with a stone. So it was like road in a bad shape with a lot of stone. So they were barefoot walking, and I am walking with a shoe. Yeah, they are never hurt, and I am always, So these type of small things. When I was thinking that I am an educated person, these are uneducated ones. And when I started living with them, I realized there are so many things, people do in a better way than you do. This is one of the things that can't be the only indicator to keep you ahead of somebody. So, because I'm hurt, so I started initially kicking the stones which were there. So then I started throwing some stones. कि मैं भी अपने बदला तो कुछ ले लेता हूँ. And then suddenly, once several of us were going to some place. So I was doing this usual thing, throwing these stones away from the road. So they asked me, "What are you doing?" I said, "I don't travel without ticket. If you are traveling, you have to pay something. So even if you are traveling, I am traveling in this road, so I feel that I should pay something to this road. So that's why I am throwing these." And they have started, everyone has started doing that. And I cannot tell you because there was no measurement, no baseline, midline, endline. So how many stones were there, how it got started. But suddenly, now if somebody goes there, they can't find her because they have started doing it, and then when they started, then till the date there was a single problem in that road. People keep on doing that, and that's how, because I was not having any idea about it. Wanted to do something but I was not having any idea about what to do, how to do it, sort of thing. And then this was the start of, and this gave this realization that collectively many things can be done, and people are ready to do things. It's just something is missing. If that is placed, so things get started. So then we were, as the demand of the villagers was to start a school, I myself started the school. Was not having any idea about philosophy of education, psychology of education, pedagogy of education, nothing, just wanted, because I failed to get a school established. So I thought, because everybody has this understanding, that कोई भी पढ़ा सकता है बच्चों को. So with that, with that understanding, I also started. So while I started, because this school was not having any curriculum, textbooks, any basta, barsati. So just children are coming and I'm trying to engage myself with them. And then finally we brought two things, which was chalk and duster. And because there was no slate and nothing of that sort, so there was a place called Chikna, where because of soil erosion, there was a huge, sliding rock, which was quite plain. So I was making a board for myself, and the children were making small. It was like a lecture theatre. so then we're trying to do something. So without knowing, understanding, I tried to do something. So we started to begin with, because we are not having any curriculum, no classes, nothing. So we started to, I thought that mathematics and language are the two things I should teach. So how to start, because there is no book, nothing, and there are children sitting from 3 years to 11, 14 years. And initially there were around 55 children. So I thought that let me call every day as a day of something. Like started with a more day. More is like a peacock day. So said, more कैसे बोलता है, क्या करता है? So some of the kids who were doing, they are making the noise of more. तो कब बोलता है more? तो बारिश आती है तब बोलता है. तो बारिश कैसे आती है? बारिश के दिनों में और क्या क्या होता है? तो बारिश के दिनों में राखी होती है. राखी में और क्या होता है? तो झूला लगाते हैं. तो झूला लगाते हैं तो झूला ही झूलते हैं या कुछ गाने भी गाते हैं. तो कुछ गाने भी गाते हैं. तो कौन से गाने गाते हैं? So in a way trying to think that it will work and trying to engage with the children. So you can understand, how different we think and how different is the world at times. So I said in one day, one Gunthi Lal was a shaitan bacha of this school. So I said, Gunthi तुम खड़े हो जाओ, काम पकड़ो चलो. He was, hitting somebody. I thought that may punish this boy. ऐसा सब नहीं चलेगा. So I said, Gunthi Lal खड़े हो जाओ, कान पकड़ो. And Gunthi Lal came running on me. So it was, like that village was having this literacy. I would say they can count up to 20, and for anything greater than 20, they have to say 50. They will say 20 plus half 20. So that was and these children, the first generation learners, all. So and untrained teacher who has no clue. So I was just trying to be with them. So finally I found some ways. Now when I have got some understanding about education and pedagogy and other things. Now I try to see that I was working a lot with the peer group learning. I was trying to, because I was doing my PhD thing also. So I wanted to have in a situation that I am not doing much and the children are engaged. Yeah. So I was not giving these sums to children. I asked कि तुम इनको दो, and the copy checking and several things were done by the children. And there was a woman whose name was Baddi Bai, we call her. She is Savitri Bai, and Baddi is said to elder this thing. So bai is a common thing, to a sister they used to call bai. So Buddy Bai was uh, thought that it is something very important happening in their village. So she is coming and supporting this entire school, and she picked up things and she started reading and writing, and then we got some one informal center also started in that village. So while engaging with this, my idea as a young man like you, so I was trying to answer two questions, trying to see answers of two questions. One is as university students, we used to go to a coffee shop. Ours was not a multi-story university. It was single-story places, and our canteen was outside, and there was a lot of ground there. So while I was studying, 8 friends, we decided that let us go and after finishing our work, we should do something for society. That type of feeling was there. So 2 of those 8 people, we went to do something with the rural India. So I was trying to engage myself with this, but there were several other things which were looking as problems to me. So this Buddy Bai, when she took the leadership, she started, suddenly cleaning the road in front of her house, because it was a L-shaped village. So in the middle there was a road, and both the sides there were houses. So there was too much mud and it was bad. So she started doing this one. So then suddenly, we were sitting, and in the evenings we were collectively discussing certain things, and some small things got started. Like someday some people decided that let us clean अपने घर के आगे का साफ करते हैं. So this village, which was not so clean before that, because inside their houses it was quite clean, but outside there was too much of a problem. So some small things of similar kind got started. So when I was doing this school thing, some young people from nearby villages started coming and asking me, because this jungle was having, the prosperous villages which are outside this forest. They used to send their cattle for grazing inside the forest, and in the time of rainy season, there are some places, there are some grasslands inside the forest area where hundreds of cattle were staying, and these people were taking care of those cattle. So at times those people who were having this big number of cattle, they come for picnic to this village and try to go and see their cattle also. So people came to know that somebody is living there, and then they came and then so they gave me a name of Roti Ram. So because they asked me how do you survive? So I said that it is decided that villagers will give me food, and I will, what all they can give to me, they will give, but I can offer to the village, so I will try to do. So, sorry, So I was talking about this, that I was trying to explore two things. One is, if you are somebody who want to do something, but you are individual, you are not a group of people who can register a voluntary organization. You don't have this ability of getting the Foreign Exchange Regulation Act certificate or this that. If you are unable to formulate a project, so still can you do something? Just with this feeling, can you do something? So this was one question which I was thinking to try to explore the possibility of this. So there was no organizational background, there was no project, there was no project proposal, there was nothing of such kind. Just trying to be with the society and try to see try to explore the collective wisdom which is already there in the society, and having this belief that there is a lot of goodness already existing in the society. It just requires somebody to go and work as a catalyst and to organize things together. So these are the things I was trying to do. So when this effort of this village is known to the nearby villages, then some young people started coming, and I want to tell you about two people. So Manmohan and Badami Lal were two young people from two different villages. Somehow they came together to meet me, and Manmohan was a 12th pass person, and this Badami was a standard 7th fail student. So I was talking to them, what are you doing? So they said, we are doing nothing. And somehow because education is for Naukri and Naukri is not there, so they feel that they can't do anything. So we thought that if we club two problems, there is a chance of getting one solution. So these we said berojgari and bekari are the two problems for these young people. So I cannot eliminate this berojgari part, but this bekari can be eliminated. And so similar type of school we started that the villagers will give you, it was before the DPP and universalization of education, where access was also a problem. So these students these unemployed youth, they starting a school in the nearby schools, and that's how we managed to start 6-7 such schools. And we were meeting, all the NRE teachers coming together, trying to see how they are struggling and what they can learn from each other. So this Badami, who was 7th standard, and there was a dropout from his school. Not only he started his school, but got excited to restart his own studies. And he did his matriculation, then he did his inter, and then he did his graduation, did his post-graduation, and he is a teacher in the school now. So this was sort of like one thing I want to about this living with the people. Because I read a statement said by a Aboriginal Australian tribal woman to a group of people who came for their welfare and development, she said that if you have come to help me, you may go back home. But if you see our struggle as part of your survival, then we may work together. And that statement, was almost imprinted in my mind. Like you can't be an outsider and doing something. You have to be a part of that community, and then it's a different thing. It's a mutual thing that the community is that people are getting benefited from each other. So this was one thing where I was engaged. Then this entire Nilgarh village, experiment, it was known to people, and the district magistrate and SDMs, they all started coming because they have several visitors coming to their districts. So if somebody hired to them, if like SDM, the DM wants to visit a village, then SDM is bringing the DM to Nilgarh village. And if the commissioner is coming, then DM is bringing the commissioner, and that's how it somehow got some sort of identification, recognition. Then this total literacy campaign came to this district. It is the district called Raisen district of Madhya Pradesh, which is adjacent to Bhopal. So this total literacy campaign, there has to be somebody who is coordinating this entire time-bound project. So the DM, approached me and said, "You come and be the district coordinator for this campaign." So I accepted that, and then I was part of this total literacy campaign. So the lessons learned from the Nilgarh engagement, that there are a lot of goodness in the society. There are a lot of good people in the society, and if somebody is able to just try to see who they are and try to be with them, so you are able to have a lot of momentum. And as any literacy program is, some students have to go for their classes, so please feel free to, and for others also. Yeah, I'm going to finish in say 10-15 minutes. Is that fine? Yes. Yeah. So I could not realize that I have taken more time in the first this thing. So the in the literacy program, with this realization, we acted in the this district was having 40.76% literacy in 1991, and there were around 3 lakh illiterate people in this district. So in this program, there was a lot of freedom and flexibility to contextualize and to make your own frameworks. We started with making a group, several groups of several people. For female literacy, a group was formed. For literacy in the forest areas, a group was formed. And so the idea behind the entire work was that there are, we try to reach out to everybody with this request that come and join in this campaign. Whether they are forest department people, whether they are Malvis, or pujaris or Gayatri Shakti Peeths or voluntary organizations or any Mahila Mandal or whatever. So with this belief that if you reach out to people with a genuine cause, there are so many people who can come forward and hold the torch of any social movement. So, and the approach, one more thing happened, that there were several bhajan mandalis in that district. So instead of calling somebody from outside, and we got around 120 bhajan mandalis registered under the literacy committee, and we did some workshops with them. And each of the mandali was from 10 to 20 people. So, like in 120 villages out of these 1500 villages, some spokesperson for this entire campaign got created, who were doing the campaigning in a cluster of their nearby villages. But then, after doing it in a programmatic mode, they remained there, and they were the people, who were constantly providing support to this program. And so many people, I do not say that because for me, like I was thinking, it's a very easy thing for an adult to start reading and writing. But when I was doing it with our people in Nilgarh, the hands which were used to hold, Gati and Phawda and Kulhadi or Darati, so they have grip for this इतनी मोटी चीज के लिए उनका हाथ में ग्रिप डिजाइन हो गया. So the first time when they were trying to hold the pencil, it was so very difficult for them to hold the pencil. And I am not exaggerating anything. It was so very difficult, and this is something, at least I was not knowing before. I saw it myself. So it was difficult even them to draw a straight line. So, but somehow, like this campaign, picked up momentum. It became a sort of movement of the masses, and that resulted. I never knew it before the 2001 census came, and the census records say that the district of Raisen got a decadal growth in literacy of 32%, which was more than done by any district in the entire district. So many people took this, came up, and they saw it as a chance to do something, because there was a lot of Muslim population in that district. So these Muslim women did not had the opportunity to go outside the burqa, and everything was there. So in this literacy movement, so many people who were behind the burqas, not getting any opportunity, found it as a like a way to come out and try to use their talent for anything good. And that resulted, after this movement, there was this Panchayati Raj elections were there. And so many people who were voluntary teachers in the literacy program, or the campaigners, or member of the Kala Mandals and Bhajan Mandals, they got the chance to get elected in the Panchayati Raj institutions. So that was the second thing. And then I will uh, talk something about the um, Azim Premji Foundation Association. I'm with Azim Premji Foundation for 7 years, and we started Azim Premji Foundation started in Uttarakhand, a program called Learning Guarantee Program, a much debated program. It is working with the government. As foundation, we realize that more than 70% of our children are with the government schools. So, and the government schools are not performing very well. So, as an organization, we should support the government, we should partner the government to try to improve the education in government school system, because these students studying in government school system are generally from the choiceless communities. So we started this work called assessment-led reform, because the examination was driving the, as it is driving the entire education system. So we came up with a program. I will not go into detail of the program, but will tell you a few things. That the situation, when we entered the situation for assessments and evaluations in primary level, where either there is no exam, there are just the answer sheets are prepared. Where there is exams, there may be Meerut printing press was a press which was supplying these question papers from 1 to 11 to all the entire UP and Uttarakhand. So you can buy 100 question papers in 5 rupees or 10 rupees, whatever. So based on that, there is an exam. There is no checking of copies, just marks are given, and all sort of things. And there was a lot of, like anywhere else, the pressure of exams are always there. So, Azim Premji Foundation, we started working with the government. And again, we went with this notion that there are several people, because this program was having a voluntary nature. So we went with this belief that there are several good people and several not so good people in all the systems. So government is not an exception. So many teachers and many functionaries, they came forward and they did extraordinary work. And I can keep on narrating the stories of many of them, but will because I have almost exceeded the time allotted to me. So would stop here just by telling you about 3 people. One was Prem Singh. Prem Singh was a block resource center coordinator. Prem Singh is posted in a very remote block of Uttarakhand district of Uttarakhand. Very remote. Mori is the block. Generally, nobody goes there. It is seen as a punishment posting if somebody is posted there. So because there is no mechanism, is nobody is no DM going, no DO going. So the schools are also running in the same fashion. There is no teachers going to these schools. And this BRC coordinator was also not going on a regular basis. When we first had a meeting, that meeting was, we went to Mori and we realized that nobody came to that meeting, and even the block BRC was locked. So entire day we were standing there. So but after certain time, this man gets so involved into this thing that somebody who is not coming to his place for, 5 days in a week, only coming for 2 days, has started living here. And because that block was so difficult, so there are less teachers because nobody want to go into remote areas. So out of the 78 schools, only 28 were having teachers, and some of the other having permanent teachers. Some others were having some para teachers, and there were schools without teachers. And when this man got going, he took the responsibility and used that element, that when he started visiting one school for several times, instead of several schools one times, he realized what is his role, and somehow things came to his mind. And this person then used the Manrega program and gave, through Manrega, he appointed teachers in these schools. I am not going into whether it was right, wrong, whatever, but he fought with everybody. When he failed to do so, he talked to the village panchayat people, and through Manrega he appointed local people till the government can do something. And it's a transformed man is going to transform the entire block. A new thing has started in that block. And I will tell you about another person who is Ranveer Singh. So there is the two districts we were working was one is Uttarakhand and the other is Udham Singh. So if you see just the names, the district name is Udham Singh Nagar. The block name is Gadarpur. The cluster name is Jhagadpuri. And the school name is village name is Bhoot Nagar. To become the BRC, Block Resource Center Coordinator. So one person goes and he opens, he put his tala, and then other person comes and he put his own tala. And there was having some court cases, and if I am getting the power, then you will get the stay. If you will get the stay, then I will get another stay, and that type of thing is happening. Even the midday meal was not distributed in that block. So we were having this belief that, in everybody there is an element of goodness. If the element of goodness is known to him, he will be a transformed person. And so engaging in this 2-3 years, then he was going to this one school 100 times instead of 100 school one time. So then when he started getting associated with a school, so after, children were not talking to him. इस तरह के आदमी से उनको बात करने में डर लगता. So he realized that why are you not talking to me? बोले सर आपसे डर लगता है. So he somebody who is it's a matter of identity. So he got his huge trim to be able to interact with the children. So I don't know how big it is sounding to you, but to me, it's like somebody who is switching over from his own image and identity to do something. And this man is a transformed person. And the same Gadarpur, you can come and see how they are trying to do. I am not saying they have done something extraordinary, but they have certainly shifted from where they were heading towards. And the last thing I am going to tell you about a woman whose name is Sangeeta Joshi. She was a cluster resource coordinator, became cluster resource coordinator just to, a cluster resource coordinator is not is not supposed to go to one school every day. He is supposed to go to various schools. So that gives you this freedom also not to go to any school, because so that is also one of the interests at times, for people to become, and it is a something higher, in a mindset of hierarchies. So it is seen as something superior to a teacher. And with all these thoughts, like she was she became cluster resource coordinator. But in this communication of learning guarantee program, where the participation of schools was voluntary, she took a responsibility of. She thought that it is good that if 100% of my school participate in this program, and that's how he got associated with this entire effort of identifying people who have some spark, who can do something good. And from there, she has demonstrated so many extraordinary things that that inspires me and that makes me believing that you need not have to be an extraordinary person, just believing in people and just trying to provide these spaces for people to so that they can do what all they are talented to do is a reasonably good enough thing to do in one's life. So I will end here. I don't know as I started, that it's a very difficult thing for me, because I'm not used to of speaking about work. I just try to engage with people and try to be with them and try to work with them. So I don't know how valuable it was for you, but thank you so much for such a patient hearing, and thanks for many of the cases, they have just come to not to hear something and just to be with me as I am with them most of the time. So thank you so much.
Any questions?
Any questions, comments? Questions are not necessary. So, anything you want to say and to suggest and to advise, whatever.
आनंद जी, जब आपने अजीम करके फाउंडेशन ज्वाइन किया था, when you started, the first time you wanted to initiated work with Uttarakhand government. If I ask you like any one of the incident where you felt that it is very difficult to work with government or in their own system, with the government system. One of the most difficult incident that you might have come across, and why it was so? Why did you feel so?
Okay, so I feel that it is very many things which are very difficult, because you are working with a system who is not one person has invited you as a secretary or director. It is not that everybody has invited you and come and help us in making a change. So the initially when we started, the question that मेरे अंगने में तुम्हारा क्या काम है? So wherever we were going, it is not like we were accepted by the people. Because in government, every program, if secretary signs the MOU, everybody has to fall in line with the system. So, but it is not like everybody is programmed in that way. So we are not invited, they were not willing to, and anybody came to them was for teachers, it is additional work. कि एक नया प्रारूप भरना पड़ेगा, कुछ और काम करना पड़ेगा with all the programs. So they are not desperate to have new programs with them. So the initial days were days of struggle. And in government there is, as all of us in foundation at least know, that whoever is working with the government, that there is no institutional memory. So you are not working with the institutions. You are working with Sudhirji, and if Sudhirji is transferred, then you have to start, it's like a relay race where nobody hands over the baton to the other person. He runs with the baton and the next person starts from the start. So that every time you are at zero. So there are certain things, but we were having this realization that it is a part of the game. Anybody who want to work for equity, want to work for quality, is not in a very comfortable thing. So there are several incidences, but because I had already this opportunity to be with the government in one or the other way, certain things I was knowing, and we as a team trying to have this realization that we are into something which is not easy. But there were several good things also happened, and we tried to celebrate. There were several good people also there. So it was a mix in that way.
I have a comment for this question. I just wanted to say I really enjoyed your talk today, and for me the greatest takeaway was that the importance of cultivating the quality of empathy, which kind of captures the essence of our work. And no matter how well trained we are as researchers, as field practitioners, or where we are trained from, I think for me that was the biggest takeaway, to kind of let go of our arrogance, to let go of our assumptions, and to truly empathize with the people we work with. So thank you so much.
So, but it's my comment to this, that there is this way also there is a lot of understanding, a lot of things available as theories. So it's not necessary taking this path, because you are already having this opportunity of interacting with wonderful people who have worked as well as who have understanding over theory and practice. So you are in a position to do at least something better than what I was able to do. So you have both the things.
So, what element of courage and self-confidence?
Sorry?
How did courage and self-confidence play a part in what you did in your initial years when you went to a village? Or was it you had self-doubt, you were battling with yourself all the time? Or did you have a lot of courage and a lot of confidence? How was it?
So I think in a certain age you have a lot of courage because you do not know many things. So that helps you to take risk, because you are not knowing that what is going to happen to this entire thing. It resulted in, for my case, it resulted in a way that can be seen as a progression, but it might not have resulted in the same thing. So it was not a clear road map of if you start with a Neegar, then you can go to Raisen and then Bhopal and then Dehradun, and then will be having this opportunity to be here. It's just, so it was a lot of courage and confidence of taking a decision was a very critical thing. So I think at that time, if there are any students left still in this room, they have all the courage in that time. Later on, it gets reduced. I would say the risk elements gets reduced. So, and I don't know whether I'm able to answer your question, but that's how I see. At that time, I was thinking that let me try to do something which to answer that question, say that can you do without any organization, without any money, can just believing in people and their wisdom. Yeah, there are certain things which are already available. It's not that you as an expert will go and do something. Yeah. So that confidence was there when I went in, and it got validated with all these examples or experiences.
The question in response to what Manish asked, you said is, I like your metaphor that nobody passes the baton on. We are getting. What have you sort of put in place some ways in which you work with the government all the time? You know this is the
Yeah.
thing. We struggle with it all the time. But are there some things you have learned? ऐसे करना चाहिए.
Okay, so that problem is there, but generally it is the problem at the top level. If you work at a scale, and if you are willing to, if you are patient enough to spend some time, and I have worked more with the second and third lines because because they are more crucial and critical. And one more reason of doing that, because if they don't have, they are the people, who are the departmental people or long-term people, not working through the secretary को पटा के यानी पूरा program करने जैसा नहीं होता, because there is no sort of ownership and nothing, and so this helped a lot, because when and this is one thing, and the second thing, in district we created a group called Academic Resource Group, which is a representative group of all the levels, right from DO to the school. So and we invested in that group. We sent them for perspective building to various organizations. We sent them to Hardy's place also. Yeah, so we invested in this thing, and so 80% of these people are going to remain there all the time. So if 20% are transferred, putting this process in place, it was able to absorb the shocks of transfers at the upper level. Yeah.
Was there any sense of alienation that the villagers, students and people felt because of the introduction of formal education? Because the links between formal education and village lives tend very often to be very apart. So was there any sense of alienation, and how did you address that?
When I started, it was informal. It was not a formal education, and there was nothing formal, no timings, no curriculum and things like that. And it was a demand of that village. So they were already asking for this thing. So it's for me it was a question whether they want to get educated. Are we snatching their happiness from them or whatever. Those were our struggles. But there was a clear-cut demand from the community to कि हमारा जीवन तो जैसे कट गया है, बच्चों के लिए कुछ होना चाहिए. So in that very village, maybe different in some other place, but in this very village that was there, and it was a smooth transition. I was not doing anything in a formal way, and then formal school came, and then by that time, this Badami Lal I was talking about, he became the para teacher. So again a community person. Then later on he improved his educational qualification, because being a scheduled tribe person, he got the appointment also. So it was, in this very village, it was quite like smooth transition from their own way to the formal education. And from this very village, 12 girls have passed graduation. 3 are studying in post-graduation. I'm talking only about the boys are also studying, but one boy has, he's in engineering college. So for me, I'm saying this, in a village where people, for speaking about 50, they are saying 220 and half 20. And a boy from that village is going to engineering college is bigger than somebody from our family going to civil services or things like that. And they are happy till now, they are happy about it. Yeah, please.
Good to hear that he went to the engineering college. Did you get your PhD?
So I could not do that. And what all actually not two reasons happened. My diet expired in the middle of this thing. I was unable to do, but I had done. I got my thesis even typed, and it was that typewriter days. So thesis typing is not like, the corrections were so difficult because you have to get it retyped. So it's not like correcting in the soft copy. So that effort was done, but then unfortunately my professor died, and the university then themselves allotted a professor to me. So, and they were both academic rivals, and then he said, this is some rubbish, what all you have done. So, and here I was not interested then in again redoing something. So then I buried down in this house where I was staying in this evening. I could not do that. But I don't regret that.
We're all mostly engaged in the process of transformation at some level of the end. Any one or two key things that you think are really critical or really fundamental to any process of transformation that one needs to clearly understand in any industry?
So, for me, 2 things. One is, like, don't believe too much on yourself. Believe in the collective wisdom which is already available in the society. Yeah. And the second thing, there is a lot of goodness. You are not the only single good person born for change. Just believe in people and just try to look around you with humility and with respect. So you will find that you will be surprised, there are so many good people in this world. So that may lead to a question that if there are so many good people, why this bird's eye view about this society gives you such a bad picture? Yeah. So that is a question one has to see and try to answer. But I, with my experience, I have met wonderful people, and just small things. Have you seen the Babarchi movie?
Yes.
Yeah. So there are systems, Somebody has to bring them close and try to realize the goodness of the people to them. Try to be with them. And I think it can work. But you can explore your own answers. That is my finding till now. So I am in no way expert to, I'm just giving my responses to these questions. Yeah, so.
Slightly politically incorrect question. There are 2 distinct phases in your life.
शायद शादी के पैसे so like it's one way it was engaging with concrete, and here it is engaging in abstraction. So at micro level you are able to see the smiles in the faces of people. When you operate at micro level, you do not know whether it is going to do what to whom. So it's like two entirely different sort of things. So because I did that first, and those were my younger days, and that is something concrete you can feel, touch, and see by your eyes. So it is to me more closer to my heart. But I also at the same time think that there are, if you work at that level, and you want to fight against equity. I am not saying you want to establish equity, because if you have this problem, you feel bad that people are living subhuman existence, and some people are leading superhuman existence. Why in this society? Yeah, there could be less and more money and these that, but dignity-wise also there is such a big gap. So for me, I had this realization that only these type of small efforts are not going to do much, because once you are out from there, there is something happen, and so there has to be something, from both the ways you have to work. So, but I really try to do one thing so that I don't feel very bad, that I keep on getting associated with something so concrete, because I am not, mature enough, I would say, that I don't need this smiles in the faces of things. I want to see something in my lifetime also, because there are things that certain thing you are doing which will have bearing in civilization's lifetime. So that's how you can explain yourself. You do some 1857, so that will result in some 1947. So but I get connected to that, and because you have asked who has gone to New York, so that I keep on returning to that place, because again for me, it's visiting 1,000 school one time and being part of something has two different meanings. So I think both the things are equally important, and one has to work at scale and as a campaign or national levels, and these are necessary things to counter the problem. So I'm not answering, I'm responding to every
Politically correct way.
Yeah?
The politically correct.
One politically incorrect question.
It can't be a simple thing if it's coming from you.
See, I wonder what happens when we're dealing with ethical clashes. Empathy is important. Not thinking that you are right is important. That I accept. But especially when you're dealing with people with very different life histories, very different social cultural backgrounds, you find that there are people with high levels of integrity who will having very different values from you. And you also believe you are a person of integrity and you have very different values. How does one handle that situation? Because you cannot empathize with them.
So I think one of the things I learned that the level of tolerance and acceptance these people have for me. Can I have some amount of similar things with me. So if they are ready and accepting me, and I think that they are uneducated, I am educated, or I am in a better position mentally, intellectually, whatever. So if these people can accept me, can't I learn to accept them as they are? So we have done I did not do anything actually from my own side. I was with them. I have not said that you should now construct toilets for each house unless the demand came from their side. I participated in what all was happening and organized just try to place some processes and mechanism where like discussion and dialogue on some other things can also happen. So I at least learned it from them that when you are going to their house, they are offering you the best thing they have. चादर भी वो वाला बिछाते हैं जिसका स्टीकर नहीं निकला है. Can you do that when they come to your home? Or are you going to give them a seat outside your house, bringing the plastic chairs bahar instead of get them seated into your sofas? So, like, I don't know, but I was not having any issues with their many of their things. Rather, I found that that's their way, and because I was not having this pakka answer that what I am suggesting is right or not. That was again giving me an advantage. So, don't know. Sorry.
Yeah, please. You talked about changing over from the micro to macro. So it's a very difficult thing to transition. Also, whatever interaction I've had, I've seen you leading a team very beautifully. I envy you to that extent. So my question to you is, how did you change over? How did the change over happen? What were the most difficult things that you faced and how did you overcome them? So changing over to managing teams and keeping them so motivated.
Yeah, actually, I don't believe in this managing teams. I like in our team, like we think that we are collectively trying to manage. So why should I manage you and you should manage yourself and I should manage myself? And I don't see it, this role of supervisor as a. I see it as I call it in Hindi. It's a difference of bhumika, not a difference of status. क्या आप इसको हैसियत के फर्क के तौर पे नहीं देखते, आप भूमिका के फर्क के तौर पे देखते. भाई किसी ना किसी को तो लीव भी अप्रूव करनी पड़ेगी, पोर्टल में भी जाना पड़ेगा, इस टाइप की चीजें. So that's a different role to do. That's again, I'm saying, the fundamental thing of believing in people and when you have a rigorous process of recruiting and selecting, that choice is with you. So do whatever you want to do at that level. Yeah. And then allow people to do. It's not about managing and monitoring and evaluation sort of things of people. Allow them, and that's how, people, my belief and experience says that this autonomy, they create pressures for themselves, rather you creating it for them, and they own their own work, so they plan their own work, so they do it in a more creative and innovative manner with more passion and commitment. So I'm not doing anything with that, so I can't answer that actually.
Your answer. Thank you.
So, I've been very impressed with you among many other things is perseverance. And I feel in the social sector, perseverance is a critical quality to retain that humility, to retain that empathy that you obviously have. One of the stories, and I was fortunate to hear it from you, and I think the audience will get a perspective of that perseverance you showed, if you don't mind sharing with them what that village used to eat and what you ate in that place. But my question after that is, how did you keep that perseverance? How did you feel at times कि मैं कहाँ फंस गया हूँ, मैं तो गोल्ड मेडलिस्ट था, टॉपर था, you were, and you could have gone and done anything. So you can give some idea.
So while I was while I went there, I told my family that I am going to complete my PhD in a good way. So it is not a sitting somewhere and writing thesis. Will be writing an extraordinary thesis. So because parents did not wanted me to leave my job and try to be become a roti ram, who is dependent on food. So when I went back to my parents, I was sharing with Ravi. So my mother was asking me, "Sabji abji kya khate ho tum? Udhar kya hota hai?" There was nothing, roti and mirchi ki chutney was the only thing, and there were so many periods which are called mahiyas, where there is nothing to eat. So kirsola, nunmati and sort of roots, you go and take and you eat it, and it has no taste. So, but how can you tell this to your mother? So, I said, 4-5 किस्म की सब्जी तो खाते ही हैं. So she said, what are those 4-5 किस्म की सब्जी? हमने कहा कभी भटा आलू. Bhata is bagan, is called bhata. So कभी भटा आलू, कभी आलू भटा, कभी खाली आलू, कभी खाली भटा. Because these were whenever they cooked any sabji, it was either aloo or either bagan, brinjal. So like that is what.
You also did not eat for how many days in a year?
Okay, so while I was dependent, I was having this understanding that जिस दिन मेरे लिए खाना बना है उस दिन मेरे को कोई भूखा नहीं रख सकता, और जिस दिन मेरे लिए खाना नहीं बना है उस दिन मेरे किस्मत में नहीं है या भगवान की मर्जी में नहीं है. तो क्योंकि बचपन से हम तो एक ट्रेडिशनल फैमिली में पैदा हुए, तो बोलते उसकी मर्जी के बिना पत्ता भी नहीं हिलता. तो उसकी मर्जी के बिना पता भी नहीं होता तो हम भूखे कैसे रख सकते हैं. दिस वाज एज ए यंग मैन आई वाज हैविंग दिस नोशन. सो आई थॉट आई विल नॉट आस्क फॉर फूड फ्रॉम एनीबॉडी एंड आई विल नॉट कुक फूड. सो इफ फूड इज अवेलेबल फॉर मी फॉर दैट वेरी डे, आई विल गेट इट, एंड इफ इट इज नॉट meant for me for that day, so I won't get it. So initially there was struggle. It is not, I don't want to say towards the end of this that people did not feed well, it was a part of the MOU. So but at times they don't have anything which they feel to offer to an outsider. I was an outsider initially. So and you thought that she might have given me lunch and he might have given me dinner, and so it happened many times. So but once it happened, for continuously 4 days, and there was nothing, no other options, would be Pepsi and chocolates. So it's just food, it's bati and mirchi ki chutney, and generally at times it is tuar ki dal or this different type of vegetables. So the 4th day I was going to the nearby village, and while returning, I fall down and was unconscious. But because I was alone, so I do not know for how long I was unconscious, and then I was sitting. That was the only day when I felt that, it started, आंखों से आंसू आने शुरू हो गए कि क्या है यार, हम इनके लिए अपना वो छोड़ के आ गए, ये छोड़ के आ गए हैं, तो खाना भी है तो उधर नहीं. So then I decided, because 4 days are too many days in this. So then I decided that if I leave there and if I don't get food today, so I will return back, because it is not wise to die here without any food. So, but I decided one more thing. So, निवेदन जी आपके शायद क्वेश्चन को की तरफ को जाता होगा. But I decided that if I get food today, then I won't have any problem throughout my life. Basically, this is the, मेरे को इसके बाद कोई शिकायत नहीं होगी. So then I continued, and I got married in that village. And one thing is, we organize doing some very simple thing. One of the things is, for each marriage there is 9 pillars and 13, they call Thuni and R. So the 22 trees are cut for at the bride's place, and 22 cut at the other groom's place. So we said, why do you cut fresh trees and put it there? They said, because jungle में रह रहे हैं, अब इतना तो अपना advantage है. So I was trying to figure out that is there any, like religious or reasons, if any reasons to do a fresh thing. So they said no. So then we created, a bank of 22 these pillars, and they were used for many